Hi, we're Grace and Josh from Shire Marketing Specialists, working in partnership with Uncover the Cotswolds. In this module, we're going to discuss the best practices of influencer marketing and how you can apply them to benefit your business. Influencer marketing strategies are more difficult to navigate than ever as a brand, but we're here to help you make sense of it all. In a nutshell, social media influencers can help you build a bigger brand following, increase your company's credibility, bring in more sales and new leads and conversions.
An influencer is someone who has the power to affect the purchasing decisions of others because of their authority, knowledge, position, or relationship with his or her audience. Basically, influencer marketing is a type of social media marketing that uses endorsements and product mentions from influencers. Influencer marketing works because of the high amount of trust that social influencers have built up with their following, and recommendations from them serve as a form of social proof to your brand's potential customers. Take a look at what Beyonce did with her Airbnb collaboration. Now, Beyonce's Instagram following is 170 million. The reach of that post would have a very powerful return, not to mention a celebrity endorsement of the Airbnb brand.
Okay, so the chances of a celebrity of this calibre mentioning your business on their social media are quite slim. But that doesn't mean you can't find social media influencers within your niche to rave about your business to your mutual target audience. But how? And who are these so-called social media influencers? Influencers in social media are people who have built a reputation for their knowledge and expertise on a specific topic. They make regular posts about that topic on their preferred social media channels, and they generate large followings of enthusiastic, engaged people who pay close attention to their views. Brands love social media influencers because they can create trends and encourage their followers to buy products they promote.
Uncovering the influencers in your industry is the first step to growing your business with influencer marketing. But before you dive in, it's critical to ensure you're targeting the right influencers. First, determine who you're trying to influence. Who is your target audience? You likely already have a clear picture of your audience from your other marketing efforts. So now you need to dive into this audience's interest a bit deeper to determine who they follow and where they consume information. For instance, if your audience is mainly adventuring families, then spend some time researching who these families follow, where they read reviews, what social platforms they spend the most time on, where they consume news, and so on. In order to determine your social media influencers, you first need to ensure that influencer is targeting the same audience as you. If you have multiple audiences, it's an idea to use multiple social influencers for these varying demographics. So focus on your top selling audience first and go from there.
Okay, so now we're going to run through the different types of influencer. First up, we will discuss mega influencers. Now, these are the people with a vast number of people following their account. Although there are no fixed rules on the boundaries between the different types of followers, a common view is that mega influencers have more than 1 million followers on at least one social platform. Many mega influencers are celebrities who have gained their fame offline. Movie stars, sports people, musicians, and even reality television stars. Some mega influencers have gained their vast followings through their online and social activities. Only major brands should approach mega influencers for influencer marketing. However, their services won't come cheap, and they will most likely be extremely fussy about with whom they will choose to partner. In virtually every case, mega influencers will have agents working on their behalf to make any marketing deals.
Macro-influencers. These are the next step down from mega influencers and may be more accessible as influencer marketers. You would consider people with followers in the range between 40,000 and 1 million followers on a social network to be macro-influencers. This group tends to consist of two types of people. They are either B-grade celebrities who haven't yet made it to the big time, or they are successful online experts who have built up more significant followings than the typical micro-influencers. The latter type of macro-influencer is likely to be more useful for firms engaging in influencer marketing.
Microinfluencers. Now, microinfluencers are ordinary, everyday people who have become known for their knowledge about some specific niche. As such, they have usually gained a sizable social media following amongst devotees of that niche. Of course, it's not just the number of followers that indicates a level of influence. It's the relationship and interaction that a micro-influencer has with his or her followers. Although views differ, you could consider micro-influencers as having between 1,000 and 40,000 followers on a single platform. A micro-influencer may not be aware of the existence of a company before that company tries to reach out to him or her. If this is the case, the company will have to convince the influencer of its worth. The micro-influencers have built up specialist followings, and they will not want to harm the relationship with their fans if they're seen to promote something random, just like a lemon. This requirement for the relationship between micro-influencers and brands to align with target audiences means that influencers are often picky about who they will work with. Some micro-influencers are happy to promote a brand for free. Others will expect some payment. Regardless of the price, any influencer is unlikely to want involvement with an inappropriate brand for their audience. The nature of influence is changing. Micro-influencers are becoming more common and more famous. Some of them have risen from virtual obscurity to being nearly as well known as traditional celebrities. In all reality, micro-influencers are the influencers of the future. The internet has led to the fragmentation of media into many small niche topics. If you're into something relatively obscure, you're likely to find a Facebook group or a Pinterest board devoted to that.
Nano-influencers. The newest influencer type to gain recognition is the nano-influencer. These people only have a small number of followers, but they tend to be experts in an obscure or specialised field. You can think of nano-influencers as being the proverbial big fish in a small pond. In many cases, they have fewer than 1,000 followers, but they will be keen and interested followers, willing to engage with the nano-influencer and listen to his or her opinions. While many brands would consider nano-influencers as being inconsequential, they can be of extreme importance to firms who make highly specialised and niche products. For most brands, however, nano-influencers probably lack sufficient influence to be of much use. They may be cheap and carry tremendous sway with a small number of people, but in most niches, you would need to work with hundreds of nano-influencers to reach a broad audience. Now that you have a clear idea of who your audience is influenced by, it's time to find out how to find influencers. A critical component of an effective influencer marketing campaign is establishing a trusted relationship with a relevant influencer, one who's in tune with your audience's needs and desires and whom your audience will look to when they're making purchase decisions.
Luckily, there are several tools that can help you uncover your social media influencers. These are listed on the screen here. Okay, so how are you going to find your influencers and what are you going to pay them? Much like any strategy, research is the first step. Choose the platform you want to focus on first. You can always expand to other platforms later, but if you're just starting out, stick with one. Ideally, your brand should already have a presence on this network or be looking to expand into it. So take a look at some of the marketing tools that are on the screen. Moz allows you to search for relevant influencers on Twitter based on keywords and location. It's a great first tool to use when building your list of potential influencers to engage and partner with. Hootsuite search streams can help you discover influencers by monitoring conversations relevant to your industry across multiple channels. Write Relevance Pro. This app can search out top content shared by influencers based on topic and location. Use it to identify thought leaders and discover potential influencer partnerships based on the quality of the content they share. 4Stars Influencer Recommendation Engine. This app provides customer influencer recommendations. It helps predict estimated reach, engagements, and other results.
Now we're going to discuss how to create an influencer marketing strategy. Like any marketing tactic, an influencer program takes deliberate targeting and planning. You won't find strategic success just by sending free things out to everyone who asks or to your existing friends and acquaintances. Categories. The industry you're in also matters when you're planning to implement an influencer marketing strategy. Beauty and fashion brands shine on Instagram and YouTube. The video game industry dominates on Twitch. During your research phase, look into the type of influencers you're interested in. Are you going for celebrities with massive followings or micro-influencers with less than 2,000 followers? Perhaps something in between the 5 to 10,000 follower range is more your preference. Whatever you decide to focus on will determine your budget.
Compensation varies wildly too, so be sure to look at common rates for those influencer types. Micro-influencers tend to be focused on a few topics and accept products. Some micro-influencers work independently, while others may be represented by an agency or network, whereas larger accounts and celebrities will need compensation, and you may even have to go through a talent agency. You'll need to think about the expected return of investment on your social media marketing campaign. How will you gauge the contributions of influencer posts to your overall marketing goals? It may initially seem like judging the value of influencers is unpredictable, but this type of approach will give you a familiar point of comparison and contrast. Research is key, and you'll find yourself returning to this step often in the process.
Set a budget and management strategy. Now that you have some idea of what you want to pay your influencers, you need to create your budget. Be sure to also factor in time for planning, executing, and reviewing your influencer program. Running a successful influencer marketing campaign is not a set it and go type of strategy. It'll involve careful monitoring and follow-up. Unlike a more automated digital marketing ad strategy, influencers are human and frequently balancing multiple partnerships, so some may fall behind in their commitments to post on time or make errors in your requested tags or calls to action. You'll need to have the time to be more hands-on with these relationships to cultivate them and refine your approach through experience about what works and what doesn't in your niche.
Okay, so make sure you decide on your goals and your message. The two most common reasons for using influencer marketing are to elevate brand awareness and increase sales. However, instead of setting these broad targets as your two goals, it will be more effective to kick off your strategy by honing in on what your brand's needs are. Perhaps you want to increase your customer base in a younger demographic, or you want to expand into a new user group with a new service. Or perhaps you may even want to skip trends and utilise influencers to talk about your brand values. Influencers have the ability to reach very specific audiences. Instead of you having to rely on thousands of followers, influencers will help you ensure a very targeted audience who is likely to be interested in your product, so they will read and engage with your content. Your message is just as important as your goal. While you don't want to stifle an influencer's creativity and uniqueness, you also don't want them to post about something unrelated to your campaign. Determine how you want to structure your influencer marketing campaign and message so you can stick to it later on. Influencer outreach. How are you going to contact your influencers? Back to step 1, research. With a plan set around your network, goals, and what type of influencers you want to target, we go back to researching to actually find the right influencers you want to work with.
Now, during this research, you need to keep in mind a few things. Does the influencer already post about similar things to your service? For example, if you're a restaurant and you want to promote a new menu, you should be looking for influencers who regularly post about dining out and the food they eat. Are they legit? This means scrolling through their feed and clicking through on posts. A poor engagement ratio to follow account and spam-like comments are signs of a fraudulent account. Have they worked with similar brands before? Depending on what type of influencer you're looking for, a seasoned one will be able to show you a press kit that contains a portfolio of their work. The more you invest in an influencer, the more you'll want to vet them. You can also use Twitter Analytics to identify potential influencers that will fit your campaigns.
Next, determine how you're going to be reaching out to them. For micro-influencers, you could reach out directly in a private message on the same platform. For more established ones, click around their profile because they may list contact information for business inquiries in their bio. They may also link to a website that denotes brand partnerships. Reach out in a non-aggressive manner. The first thing to keep in mind is you don't want to sloppily start messaging, retweeting and sharing every one of your target influencers' posts. When they see you've liked 25 of their Instagram posts from 2015, they're more likely to be creeped out than flattered. Now, make sure that you review and refine your strategy. Even if your influencer marketing campaign is ongoing, you should still have predetermined dates where you'll measure its progress. The next part of this guide will go into how to track your results. Not all campaigns are successful, but hopefully you'll learn with each one you create. It will be far more beneficial if you make sure to put some strategic thinking and planning behind your initial outreach efforts and allow your first message to simmer for a moment. There is no need to turn into an overly eager salesperson.
Leverage your network. You should treat reaching out to social media influencers the same way you treat finding a new job. Use the people you know to get connected to the people you want to know. This isn't a groundbreaking strategy, but it is one you might not have thought of. Search through your social media's influencers' friends and see if you have any mutual connections. Chances are the world is smaller than you think, and working in the same industry you likely do. Then reach out to the person you have in common and ask them to make an introduction. This will ensure your social media influencer doesn't feel caught off guard by a miscellaneous reach out.
Keep a list of your outreach efforts. This is really important. It's actually critical to track and manage your outreach efforts to ensure you're not either overbearing or forgetting about your social media influencers. Since you're likely reaching out to influencers at various times, it's important to keep tabs on your outreach dates and times, methods, success and or failures of these attempts to ensure you're making the best effort to engage with, but not annoy these individuals. With this type of due diligence, attention to detail and persistence in your outreach efforts, your social media influencers will be ready to engage right back in no time.
Follow the rules. It's important to make sure you always follow the rules when engaging with social media influencers. The Advertising Standards Authority is the UK's independent advertising regulator. This authority ensures that ads across the UK media stick to the advertising rules, known as the advertising codes. They state that brands must ensure that influencer marketing is obviously identifiable with posts. The Committee of Advertising Practice is the sister organisation of the ASA and is responsible for writing the advertising codes. Amongst these are the following. Marketing communications must be obviously identifiable as such. Unsolicited email marketing communications must be obviously identifiable as marketing communications without the need to open them. Marketing communications must not falsely claim or imply that the marketer is acting as a consumer or for purposes outside its trade, business, craft or profession. Marketing communications must make clear that the commercial intent if it is not obvious from the context. Marketers and publishers must make clear that advertorials and marketing communications, for example, by heading them advertising feature.
One of the easiest ways to disclose the fact that influencers are being compensated to promote...
Okay, we can carry on.
One of the easiest ways to disclose the fact that influencers are being compensated to promote your brand is to request that they display #sponsored, #ad or #brand name partner in their post. Now, Instagram actually took this a step further with their branded content option, which allows you to tag your business partner and it will clearly show that it's a sponsored post. To reduce the risk of your brand It's highly recommended that you check your influencers' posts and content often to make sure they're adhering to the guidelines set by the Advertising Standards Authority.
So, in conclusion, influencers are here to stay, but how the world of influencer marketing looks and operates has changed a great deal in a very short time, and in 5 years may be drastically different from how it looks today. This guide will help you get started with building your strategy, but like any social strategy, it's important to be ready for change. Still, while there are some unique considerations to working with influencers, setting up a campaign is the same as most marketing campaigns. Research, budget, determine goals, find your influencers, and review and revise. Once you've got the rhythm down, you might find yourself creating additional types of influencer marketing campaigns. Success varies between brands, so don't give up if your first one is a failure. You might find that incorporating influencers into your marketing strategy is wildly beneficial to everyone. We hope you found this module useful and informative, but if you do have any questions, please drop us an email at info@shiremarketingspecialists.co.uk. Bye now.